guys, today's video I am super excited for. So today's video is going to be a room makeover. I've literally been working on it for 3 months. I thought it was going to be like a 2-week process, but then I just kept adding stuff and I just got really carried away. So obviously we are all in quarantine. Okay, so here's the thing. I woke up the other day and I was just like, do you know what? I need to redo my room. I don't like it. I've wanted to redo it for a while and I kind of just kept putting it off. And then I was like, well, I'm basically moving out soon anyway. So like, there's no point in me redoing it because I'm just gonna move out and I basically won't be living here anyways. But now I, like every college kid in America, am doing online classes because of the freaking coronavirus. So I will actually be home for 5 months. Yeah, I'm just hoping if I make it feel like a new space, I'll like be happier. I don't know. Okay, so before we get into transforming my room, let's just talk about the before. So I'm not even sure if I have good clips or pictures of what my bedroom looked like before because it was literally always messy. I just could not keep it clean, and I thought that that was just because I was a naturally messy person, which is sort of true. And I will say, since having transformed my room, I just love the way it looks, so it makes me want to keep it clean. So I don't know about you guys, but I used to scroll through Pinterest and I would see all these beautiful bedrooms and I would kind of always gravitate towards like a certain style, yet I would look around my room and it just looked nothing like that. For example, I love plants. I love a bunch of plants in a bedroom. I just think it looks great. It adds to any room. Do you know how many plants I had before? 1. I literally had 1 plant. So since this process took about 3 months, the footage is like kind of jumbled. So I'm just gonna be here throughout the video explaining things because a lot of days I like didn't even talk to my camera, so. Okay, so the very first thing I dealt with were these vinyl wall stickers. I had actually wanted to take these off my walls for years, but as you can see, they are really not easy to take off. It literally took me hours to do this. Okay, so as you can see, I started working on this yesterday. This actually happened a few years ago when I tried to remove this. This was not my fault recently, but it like leaves this like residue, and I tried to scrub it off, but it just like doesn't come off. So we're just gonna cover it. I did that one yesterday. We're also gonna be covering that up because that looks like crap. Let's talk about these plantation shutters. So my entire house actually has these. My mom just like really likes the look of them, so when we moved in, she had them installed on every single window. I've personally always preferred the look of curtains and I just always wanted them, so I googled it and you can take the plantation shutters off and then just like put them back on later if you want to. So my plan was that I was just going to take them off and then I would just like put them back on when I moved out. So I went ahead and just ordered curtains, curtain rods. Didn't ask my parents about it at all, which was stupid. I actually did start unscrewing it. And I actually got it to like the last nail for the door that I had started on. It was just kind of difficult. Like I realized that just to me, it was really difficult for me to be able to catch the shutter once I fully took it off and then also like be unscrewing the nail. So I was just kind of like stuck there. So I was like, all right, you know what? I'm just gonna go ask my mom for some help. So I walk into her office and I'm like, hey. So I started unscrewing the plantation shutters and she's like, no, don't do that. And I'm like, oh, why not? Those cost thousands of dollars to install. I don't think that you could just take them off. You didn't already start unscrewing things, did you? And I'm like, no, definitely not. So then I went back to my room and I just put one of the nails back in, but I realized on the other 2 hinges. Okay, to make a long story short, the hinge that attaches the shutter to the window snapped shut and I couldn't figure out how to pry it open. It was literally broken for like a month and I didn't figure out how to fix it until one day I was home alone and I finally managed to pry it open. And to this day, my parents still do not know about this whole experience. But yeah, so once I got to that point, I was like, well, I know for a fact now that you can uninstall and reinstall them, but I can't tell my parents how I know that, so I'm kind of just stuck. I was also kind of panicked because I like had already spent money on curtains and a curtain rod, and I didn't want that to go to waste. So I actually did manage to find a way to make it work with the curtains, but you'll have to wait for later in the video to see that. So then I started moving on my furniture, kind of seeing like, you know, what I was keeping, where I want everything to go. I hadn't touched my furniture like literally since I moved into this house when I was like 4. Everything had just always been in the same place. I never moved anything around. So the first piece of furniture I decided to tackle was my bookshelf. It mostly held books that I stole from my 7th grade English teacher. I'm so sorry, Miss Harper. Some random decorations and this crusty purple storage cube. I sorted all my books on my shelf into 3 piles: keep, donate, and lastly, books that don't match the vibe of my room but I physically cannot get rid of because they are rooted into my very soul, so I'm just going to shove them away in storage somewhere. Here's the thing. I remember when I was cleaning my room in like 3rd grade, I had a bunch of school crap that I didn't know what to do with, so I just shoved it between the wall and the bookshelf right here, and I haven't touched it since then. So this should be interesting. This is so embarrassing. I am disgusting. I found this envelope, right? Okay, it's really just a bunch of $1 bills. But who did I think I was when I was like 8 years old, like stashing cash behind my shelf? So I ended up deciding to just get rid of my bookshelf because the amount of books that I was keeping was pretty small, so it just didn't really make sense for me to have that whole entire shelf. And just in general, I was getting rid of a lot of things because I found that I like didn't have enough room to store everything. But then I like looked at my room and I was like, okay, is it really a storage issue or is it a hoarding issue? So I also decided to get rid of my nightstand because, I don't know, it just like looks like a little kid's nightstand, and there's also literally like silly putty stains on it, which is kind of disgusting. Alright, so the next thing that I did was just move my dresser. First, I had to take out all of the drawers, so that way it was less heavy. This was probably the messiest my room ever was during this process because I had just cleaned out the bookshelf and then I had also just moved my desk, so pretty much everything I owned was on the floor. So please do not move furniture by yourself if you do not have to. It wasn't so much that my dresser was heavy, it was more just like kind of awkward. So this like weird technique that I'm using here, I mean it worked. I was able to move my dresser, but it actually hurt my back so badly and like I was kind of sore from it for a couple of days afterwards. At this point in the process, my room was an absolute mess, but I had moved my furniture pretty much where I wanted it, so I finally had to start spending all of my money. I knew that I wanted to cover up the walls around my bed because I had that sticker residue, so I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do. And then I saw this picture on Pinterest and I just became absolutely obsessed with the look of this canopy, so I immediately started looking online. I was just really struggling to find something similar. And then I saw this picture on Urban Outfitters and I was like, ooh, this is exactly what I'm looking for. And then I see that it is out of stock. Then I saw it was only out of stock for the color white. It was not out of stock for the color rust, which you can probably see in the background. That's what I ended up getting. Why not try something new? Everybody has like super white bedrooms. I would rather get a color that wasn't my first choice but have it actually be high quality and material that I wanted than get a white one that just like looked cheap. So I ended up getting that canopy. So before putting up my canopy, I put up this macrame panel thing. I wanted something to hide any sticker residue that wouldn't be covered by the canopy, but I didn't want anything too flat like a tapestry. Then I just made my bed really quickly before moving on to my canopy. So to hang up my canopy, first I just spread it out on my bed to try and figure out where the corners were and line it up. Next I tried to measure where exactly each of the hooks should go, and I ended up messing up sort of, but you know what? We're just gonna move past that. I got these little clear hooks off of Amazon. They're not supposed to take the paint off the wall. I'll let you know if that is actually true. Then I just tied the canopy to each of the hooks in the corner. Next, I finally bought a chair for my desk. I literally didn't have one for years, so of course I never sat at my desk. I actually bought a dining chair, not a typical office chair, because I just don't really like the look of office chairs. They're kind of ugly. Okay, welcome to Aria's struggles to build an incredibly basic chair. First, I just unpackaged everything and read over the instructions, nothing too bad, but for some reason I really struggled to attach the back of the chair to the seat. I had to try so many different angles and it ended up taking me like a half hour to do that, which is kind of embarrassing. Next, I just had to attach the legs to the bottom of the chair, which was a bit easier, but again, it still took me a few different angles to finally do it. This is the finished chair. I really like it. It's very simple. It's this nice velvet material, and I really like the brass finish on the legs. Alright, next I brought in some new items that my mom was gracious enough to let me take from around our house. The first thing I did was swap out this ugly ass octopus lamp for this much nicer floor lamp. It does have a few cracks in it, but they're not that noticeable, and overall I really like that it's a nice warm light instead of the harsh white fluorescent light that I had before. I also brought in this table to use as a nightstand. It is admittedly a bit big to be a nightstand, but I was really sick of having all white furniture, so this nice cherry wood was a welcome change. I also added this lamp that again lets off a much warmer light, which I definitely prefer, and I felt like it gave a nice bohemian vibe, which is what I was going for. I also brought in this short little table that is actually a vanity stool that I just took the cushion off of. Alright, so my mom actually had a bunch of these mirrors that she never really figured out how to hang up, so she just let me take them. These mirrors probably weigh about 5 pounds each, so I did a little research on the best way to hang them. I ended up finding these hooks by a company called High and Mighty. They're supposed to be able to hold up to 40 pounds. So to hang up this mirror, I just put one of these hooks in each of the 2 holes on the back. I'm not sure if this is how you're meant to hang these mirrors, but I didn't see any other way to do it. It was definitely not as easy to push the hooks into the wall as the video made it seem, but it was definitely way easier than having to use a drill. So I measured the width between the 2 holes on the mirror and then placed my hooks from there. Next, I tried to hang the mirror up, but I started having some issues. One problem I ran into was there was this weird metal piece on the back that was hitting the wall, so I just used some duct tape to flatten it out. Then I tried for like 20 more minutes, but it was just not working. So the strategy that ended up working for me was to first push the hooks all the way into the wall and then pull them out and place them in the mirror, and then push the mirror and hooks into the wall together. So I got these wall shelves that are by the same brand that I got for the hooks. So they're supposed to be super easy to put up. I really like floating wall shelves, but you have to like drill into your wall. And I just don't really trust myself to do something like that. So I got these, and they're supposed to be like super easy, like 5-minute installation. I got 2 24-inch ones. So I got these. Oh, how interesting. So it comes like, I got it with like a little bevel. Okay, so to install these shelves, first I figured out where I wanted them to go and marked the spot with a pencil. Then I attached the adhesive strip to the wall. The adhesive strip comes with a level, which is really nice. You don't have to worry about leveling it yourself. Next, I had to push the 2 brackets into the wall, which was definitely so much harder than their video made it look. I pretty much had to put my full body into it. I'm not sure if I just have like super thick drywall or something, but it was definitely a challenge. Next, I just positioned the shelf under the brackets and then flipped it straight upwards, and like magic, I had a floating wall shelf. I repeated this process for the next shelf, except I made a tragic error, which I will talk about next. So if you guys buy these shelves, just make sure you install them correctly, because I didn't. So on the first shelf, I was able to get like a pretty good angle and push the hooks fully into the wall. It was definitely like not as easy as the video made it seem, but I just was able to do it. But on the second one, because of the angle and like reaching upwards, I was struggling to push the brackets all the way into the wall, and I decided that it was fine and just attach the shelf anyways. I'm sure you can see where this is going. Yeah, it fell and it knocked so many things over with it. It knocked a picture frame off of the other shelf, and then there was glass everywhere, and then I stepped on a tiny shard of glass and it went straight into my foot. It was really fun. So then I just took the shelves off again and used a hammer to make sure the brackets were fully into the wall. Really though, if you install it correctly, you should be fine. When the higher shelf fell, it literally hit the other shelf, but the other shelf did not come off the wall because I had actually installed it correctly. The other shelf has been up for a few months now and I have not had any issues with it. It still does make me super anxious though, so I just don't really put a lot up there because I'm traumatized. Next, let's talk about my windows. I saw this rainbow window film on Pinterest and then I later saw it like all over TikTok and I just could not resist. I had to get some. So to install this window film, the first thing I had to do was get the windowsills a good cleaning, and I also cleaned the window with Windex to make sure there wasn't any dust that would get trapped underneath the film. I ended up discovering that my window had been just a crack open on the top for, I'm pretty sure, literal years. So yeah, I ended up closing that up, and that explains why my room was always so cold. Next, I just measured out each part of my window and then cut pieces of film about an inch bigger than my window on each side. The nice thing about this film is that it's static, not adhesive. All I had to do was peel the backing off the film, which was super loud. And then I just sprayed my window and the back of the film with water. You don't need any kind of adhesive, so it won't damage your windows at all. Next, I just used a rag and an Amazon gift card to push out any air bubbles. Definitely use a squeegee if you have one because that will work so much better. Then I just used an Olfa knife and a ruler to trim the film to the window exactly. I repeated this process on the top part and then my other window. This whole process took a couple hours and about 1.5 rolls of film. My room gets direct light in the morning, so I had to wait to see my rainbows, but here they are. My room was super messy in these clips, but don't worry, I will show much better ones later in the video. Like I said earlier, I kind of went through a whole experience with the plantation shutters, and my parents didn't want me to take them off, but I had already bought curtains and a curtain rod, so like I still wanted to make it work. After I put up the film, I realized that I really liked having my shutters open because it just let so much more light into my room, and I feel like it also kind of gives it like a cottagey vibe. Then I started seeing these pictures on Pinterest of knotted curtains, and the curtains that I bought were like super lacy, so that didn't really work, but I decided that I could probably still put the curtains up and then just tie them in the middle. Okay, so to install my curtains, first I had to install a rod, obviously. I chose to install the rods about 7 inches from the top of my window because it helps to make the room feel taller. These curtain rods were again supposed to be super easy to install, but I think I do just have really thick drywall because it was really not easy. I tried to do this by myself, but I really just could not get a good angle, so I had to get my mom to help me. Since the first one was so annoying to install, we literally procrastinated putting up the other one for like 3 weeks, so if you only see one curtain for a lot of this video, that's why. Yeah, I'm not really sure if this like looks weird. Feel free to comment and tell me if you think it looks bizarre. Okay, this is the part of the video that we're just gonna call Aria uses small tasks like just hanging a picture frame be a way for her to procrastinate finishing her room and finally editing this video and overall just becoming way too indecisive about really small things, or we can just call it finishing touches. So as you saw earlier, I originally tied these little fake plants into my canopy. I ended up hating how this looked, and here's what I ended up doing instead. So I got these macrame hangers from Michael's for like $4, which is actually pretty cheap for macrame. Then I got this pack of vines for I think $15 from Amazon. I wanted to turn these plants into trailing plants, so I used these vines to do that. I basically just cut pieces at random lengths and just kind of shoved them into the top of the plant. I found that the vines looked more realistic when I layered them on top of each other. I trailed the vine through the canopy, and I also added these starlights. And I was also careful to make sure that each vine ended in a leaf and not a stem. This is just a personal preference, but I just think it looks a lot nicer. Originally, I had all of these plants at each corner of the canopy, but I ended up moving one over by my shelves and trailing the vines through my curtain rod. I also hung up this giant basket plant by my window. I actually didn't buy this. Macy's just accidentally sent it to me. So I realized I kind of wanted somewhere to sit in my room that wasn't my bed or at my desk, but I really just was not in the mood to spend any more money. Like I had already bought so many things for this room. So ultimately I decided to just go with this beanbag that I literally just had in my attic that no one was using. I covered it with this dark brown blanket because there were some stains on it, and also I just felt like it was a little bit too plain with just the white. And then I put some pillows on it. I put the throw blanket over it to add some more detail, and also because there were a few holes in the blanket, so I wanted to cover that up. So much of this video is me just like covering up other mistakes. So I feel like everybody likes to have some art in the room, whether or not it's posters or just like random prints that you like. I know I do. Personally though, I think that framing stuff automatically just makes it look so much better. At this point in the process, it was like late May, so Goodwills near me were opening up. So I didn't get any footage of me at Goodwill because there were honestly a lot of people and I just felt weird. But I promise I was wearing a mask and gloves and I washed my hands a ton and I was super safe. Definitely go to Goodwill if you need picture frames. I don't think I saw a single frame that was maybe more than like $8, and they had like some huge frames. Personally, I like the look of like gold vintagey frames that just kind of have a lot more character and personality. If that's not your thing though, definitely still go to Goodwill for frames because they had like normal ones too. That just like wasn't what I was looking for. I also ended up getting some picture frames from Dollar Tree. They are actually pretty good. They don't really have any big ones. I think the biggest one that they have is like maybe like 11 by 14. So I got a bunch of gold 8 by 10 ones and they're honestly really nice, especially for like $1. I also ended up getting these gorgeous mirrors. They look like these little like vintage mirrors. When you pick it up, it definitely feels very like plasticky. But honestly, like just looking at it, you would not know. So because I had a frankly excessive number of picture frames, I just got way too excited at Goodwill. I decided to do a gallery wall because I'd kind of been seeing them all over Pinterest. So to plan out my gallery wall, the first thing I did was just make templates out of some sheets of printer paper and tape. I also marked where the hook was on each piece so I would know exactly where I need to hang each nail. Next, I just taped up all the templates on my wall and moved them around to see what I liked. I would recommend starting with your largest frames and going from there. Unfortunately, I don't have footage of me hanging every single frame because some of them gave me a lot of trouble, so I ended up doing them off camera. So really quickly, I just want to talk about some cheap ways you can get wall art. The first one is to obviously just make it yourself. I made quite a few of the pieces in my room, but a really cool way to get free prints is to actually use wallpaper samples. The first website I used was called Pharaoh and Ball. Theirs are definitely more on the simpler side, but they have some really nice textures and embellishments, which I like, especially the gold and silver ones. Those ones are really nice. I think they let you order up to 5 for completely free and you don't even have to pay shipping. Another website I used was Wallpaper Direct. If you want something that looks more like an actual print rather than just a simple pattern, I would definitely recommend them. I think they let you order up to 3 for free and then after that it's maybe $1. This one literally reminds me of something that I saw at Urban Outfitters, except I literally got it for free, which is so cool. Anyways, back to the rest of the video. So I got this very soft rug for $50, which is pretty good for a 5x7 rug. Originally I wanted it to partially go under my bed, but I realized I was not going to be able to lift up my bed frame without taking off the mattresses, which just seemed like a lot of work that I didn't want to have to do. So instead I opted to have it go under my desk. Unfortunately, this meant that I had to completely empty out my desk and move absolutely everything from this side of my room to the other, and it made a huge mess and I was super sweaty by the end of it. And yeah, I just got really tired of moving furniture. But I do think that it was worth it for this beautiful rug. So after hanging my gallery wall, buying some extra accent pieces I definitely didn't need, shoving all my extra crap under my bed, rearranging things for the new time, after 3 months was finally done, and here's the big reveal. Welcome to my room. So when you first walk into my room, right next to the doorway on the left is my dresser area. This wall is actually my least favorite part of my room. I don't know, it's just not that exciting. I really wanted these peace symbols off my wall, but I just could not get them off, and I tried covering them with the tapestry, but it just looked kind of bad. On my dresser, I have some mirrors and little knickknacks, and of course some plants. I have some real candles right next to some fake ones. My mom doesn't actually let me light candles, but I still own quite a few. Moving over here, we have my closet doors. I just have my most used bags hanging on the doorknobs and this random vine thing. My closet is an absolute mess right now, so I'm not going to show you that. Over here we have my laundry basket that I'm literally holding closed because it's overflowing. Over this way we just have my big mirror. This is actually a vest that I thrifted, but I'm just kind of using it as like a rug. And then right here, I just felt like this little section needed something, plus I wanted to cover up the cord back there. I just have all of these extra little plants and candles, and then down here I have a clamshell that my family actually found on the beach, and this is where I would put like all my most worn jewelry. I also have some rugs over here. I have my giant fluffy rug from Rugs USA. Then I layered 2 other rugs on top of it because, I don't know, I thought it looked sort of cool. The black and white one is from Five Below, and the orange one is from Urban Outfitters. I wanted to tie in the orange in my canopy somewhere else in the room, but this particular shade of burnt orange is so hard to match, so I figured I had a better shot of it matching if I just bought it from the same company. This is my desk setup. I have this salt lamp that I got as a gift, and then over here I have 2 frames. This one is from Goodwill, and then this is a painting that I did. Over back here I just have this frame from Dollar Tree, and then this print is actually a wallpaper sample. And then over here I just have another mirror from Dollar Tree. I just have my bullet journal, my monthly planner. I have my laptop right here. I actually just got this diffuser. And then we'll go up here to my lovely shelves. I just have 2 journals, and then I have a fake plant from Target, another fake candle. Up here I have not that much because ever since the shelf fell, I'm just a little bit anxious about it. I drew both of those. One of the frames is from Walmart, but it doesn't come with glass, so don't buy it. And then the other frame is from Dollar Tree. And then I just have a little plant that Ashton gave me. Going down to my actual desk, it's really not that organized. I got like little boxes and stuff, but they're seriously delayed on shipping, and I did not want to put off this video any longer. My lovely chair that I built is from Macy's. Okay, this part of my room is actually something that I redecorated so many times, and I'm honestly still not sure if I like it. For now, I just have some books that I ended up keeping. I have this fake orange flower set from Goodwill, and then the planter is also from Goodwill. I also just have a big candle and some fake flowers. This like green jar thing, it's like a self-growing kit. Originally I had it in the window and it was like sprouting really nicely, and I was watering it and I was like super excited. But then it started dying for some reason, and I'm not sure why, and then it was dead, and I ended up redoing this section anyways. For now I just have it right here. I'm definitely gonna replant something in here. I just don't know what I'm gonna plant yet. Ashton actually got me this little growing kit, I think like 2 years ago for my birthday. Thank you so much, Ashton. You actually got me so many things for my room. Yeah, and then I just had this ridiculous candle that we just had in my house, and I kind of like the look of it, so I kept it. I was also growing something in here and just never started sprouting. I don't know, maybe I'm just like really bad at taking care of plants. Right here we have this mirror setup, and then I have 2 mirrors from Dollar Tree right here. Up here I have this hanging plant that I like trailed through the curtain rod, which I think looks really nice. This is my little window plant corner, which might actually be my favorite part of my room. This window, I have this giant fake plant that Macy's accidentally sent to me. Moving over here to this window, I have a bunch of succulents. They are real. They're kind of dying. I've been following the instructions. I don't know why I'm so bad at taking care of things. So this window back here does not get that much direct light, so I really only get rainbows from this window at like 8 a.m., but it's really pretty. And then this window gets a lot more direct light, so I usually get rainbows from 9 to noon. Having like rainbows in my room in the morning helps me get up earlier. It's just so pretty. And I've also just been like sleeping with my shutters open because the window film does offer some privacy, so like I don't really have to worry about it. And it's just like such a nice way to wake up in the morning with the sun rising and the light coming into your room rather than like a blaring alarm. So honestly, it's kind of helped me become a morning person. This is another section of my room that I just redid so many times. Right here I have this orchid. It is real, and I know all the flowers are off of it right now, but it's actually from my mom's office, and she just let me take it home. And she said that flowers will just like randomly fall off and then like come back like 6 weeks later, so it is alive. This is another little fake plant. And then I have this plant, which is from Michael's. This is the one that used to be on my nightstand, and I just put it in this seagrass basket. This is my nightstand area. I have 2 hardcover books, which I think if you're going to use books as decorations, hardcover definitely looks better. And then then I just have this little fake plant from Target, random candle, and then this, I paid way too much for this. I think this was like $20. It's from Target, and I just put my Curology and my retainer in there because it's kind of ugly, but I always need it on my nightstand, so I just like to have it hidden away. Up here, I just have this fake trailing pothos plant. Down here, I have this journal that hopefully nobody actually thinks to open because I actually did used to write in here, and there's private stuff in there. And then I have this little mini salt lamp, and then I just have this black fabric cube that holds all of my camera equipment and like technology stuff, and also a T6i calculator. And then I just put these 2 pillows over it so that you can't see all the crap that's in there. Okay, moving on to my beloved Canopy. This is probably what transformed my room the most. I just have trailing plants around it and these macrame hangers. I have my starlights up there. I have a moonlight back there. My bedspread is, again, literally just one that we had in my house. It's like super old, so I have no idea where it's from. Okay, coming over here, we have this little section of my room. This is literally the first time I've sat down in this beanbag. I really have not used it a lot yet. So my beanbag section exists as a cozy place to sit, but also a way for me to hide all of the crap underneath my bed. I have my beanbag with some pillows and blankets, one of these big mirrors because I just didn't know where to hang it, and a big fake plant in one of these seagrass baskets. I also have this rug from Five Below, but I actually don't really like it. I think it's kind of ugly, but you know what? I paid for it. So over here we have my gallery wall, which actually, when I'm recording this, is not totally done because I need help putting up the mirror because I have tried so many times and it's just not working. Okay, little update. This is what my gallery wall ended up looking like. My mom and I tried really hard to hang the mirror, but we figured out that it was literally bent on the back, so it like wasn't possible to do it safely, if that makes sense. All of the frames are from Goodwill except the white ones. Those are from Walmart, but they don't come with glass, so I really wouldn't recommend that you buy them. But I just had some extra frames from Dollar Tree, so I just took the glass out of those because they were the same size. So some of these pieces I actually painted specifically for this room. They don't look that great, but like when you frame something, it just looks a lot better, so we're just going with it. I also just have a couple more of these Dollar Tree mirrors because they are just so pretty. And then a lot of this is actually wallpaper samples, which is a really cool way to get some free prints for your room. That is the end of my room transformation video. I really hope that you guys liked it. It literally took me such a long time to do. And now I'm actually moving into an apartment in 2 months, so I don't really get to enjoy all this for that long, but I'm probably gonna take a lot of it with me, and stay tuned in August because I will definitely be doing a huge makeover for my room in my apartment. I really hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope it was entertaining, maybe give you some inspiration for how you can make over your room. I will see you in another video. Bye. Oh, how was that? I will see you guys in another video. Bye.